Hello, Seka. I had a whole week without you, man. It was so nice. You missed me. No, not even a little bit. I was having a great time without you. YouTube missed me. No, they didn't. There's actually people that, were very glad you weren't here. They don't matter. Only the real ones matter. All right, I'm done with your shit. Okay, so it has been asked of me which one of the things in the shop is the most worth to buy when you hit a certain trust rank. And we were trying to find information on if anybody had done this before or not. So I don't know if they have, but we're going to go over what the best value is to buy out of the shop. And we're going to be talking about that in terms of resin and what you get out of each of the things that you can buy out of these realm treasures. All this is based on just math, so we're just basic arithmetic, so we'll just go into it. So the three other things you can buy, you got transient resin, which is essentially just 60 resin that's going to deplete after a week. Once you buy it, you have a week to spend it, basically. If you don't spend it, it disappears. But we're just going to call it 60 resin because once you buy it, you're going to spend it. I mean, that's just how it goes. Hero wits, you get 1 hero wit for getting one of these done, and which is 120 of the Adeptal currency, which is called realm currency in this. The resin costs 1200. The mystic enhancement is going to cost you 60, and of course it's mystic. And we got Mora, which is 110k Mora for 120, and then a new item which is called sanctifying essence, as well as the sanctifying unctions. Now both of these two things, so you know for here, have equal value. The sanctifying unction costs you 90 of the Adeptal currency, whereas the sanctifying essence costs 360, but 90 times 4 is 360, so you get the same value out of both of these items. One is just it's just a more condensed version. It's like condensed resin versus normal resin. That's all it is. Okay, so what we're going to go into today is talking about how much resin each one of these is worth, and which ones are the most worth to buy. So for everything, I wrote everything down in a nice little spreadsheet for you guys. So we're going to talk about those things, and we talk about the value of each of the things in here. And for some reason, this is a terrible zoom in feature. Okay, so you guys know, I wrote them all in here, and what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be talking about each of these things and talk about how they're going to be equating into resin and what you would really get out of resin spent for these items in general. So the things I'm assuming, of course, is that you are AR45 plus when looking at this spreadsheet. The reason AR45 plus is because that's when artifact experience, as well as a lot of other things like more, etc., with hero with, etc., from the ley lines will all increase. And these are based upon the highest possible ley line values. And these are also based upon the highest possible artifact XP gains that you can get from artifact domains. Now, the overall resin value for 20 resin is, of course, 60,000 Mora. The average value for hero wits is about 6.25 hero wits. If you conglomerated all the blue wit tomes, if you know what I'm talking about, it's going to be, if you took the adventures XP and all the other ones, let's go into a hero wit thing here. You go to a ley line, you get 60k more here. And then, of course, 6 to 7 of the adventure XPs. And if you put these together and you averaged out the total amount you would get here, it comes out to about 6.25 for the overall amount of hero wits in total that you would get, including the blue ones and the purple ones. So that's why it's 6.25. Minimum value of this, of course, is 5.5, and the maximum value is 7.75, so 6.25. Now that's, of course, based upon this being, even drops, but for wits, it's like whatever, dude. It's close enough. Closest number I can give you. And then for Mystic Enhancement Ore, the Mystic Enhancement Ore, if you didn't know, if you can actually buy Mystic Enhancement Resin, of course, and of course you can do that at a blacksmith where you can transfer them up to, I think it's like, when we were looking at it, it was 10 resin for the blue crystals and the other thing, and the resin for 6 Mystic Enhancement crystals. So that's why the Mystic Enhancement came out to 12 here. Now, obviously, you should not buy this. It's not worth, unless you're an Omegalodon whale or you're a content creator like myself that needs to make a YouTube video based on a weapon. But pretty much no one should be buying this. But as far as resin value, it might be good to just put in the resin value of this. Sure, why not? But you should all be grinding every single day for your Mystic Enhancement Ore, so you guys can get your maximum done every day. And again, if you did not know, if you're new to Genshin Impact, you can only make a total of 30 Mystic Enhancement per day based upon what you have for Crystal Chunks. So make sure you do that. You farm Crystal Chunks every single day so that you can make sure you never ever have to buy these. Back to the actual part of the video. Okay, so for artifact experience, what we were looking at is I couldn't find out the exact amount of artifact XP that we got per run. But what I did was I did 2 different runs and we ended up getting massively different drops per run. And when you do an artifact domain for any artifact domain in the game, what happens is you get a varying amount of artifact XP per run based on your RNG. And whether you're lucky or unlucky, you might get a lot or little. You know, you end up getting a little bit of blue artifact drops, a little bit of purple artifact drops, and of course, an orange artifact drop. Now, for the total amount of artifact XP, what I did was I found out the amount of XP that you got per artifact, and then I found out the minimum value of artifact XP that you could potentially get from a domain, as well as the maximum part you could actually get per domain. And that's for a 20 resin value. If you go into an artifact domain, you can get 1 orange drop, you get about 2 purple drops, and 3 blue drops for the minimum drops that I've seen. There could be less than this. If there is less than this, then it's an even greater value, and this is better than I've said. And if it is more than what I've said here, for 2 orange drops, 3 purple drops, as well as 4 blue drops, as far as the maximum you can get, yes, they could be even worse. So the range should be different. But that's what I've seen. I've never actually fully paid attention to this, so I only did a few runs just to test this. And if you guys know better, then let me know in the comment section down below. But this is just for posterity, just so I can actually see the numbers and figure out what the artifact XP is. So the minimum artifact XP we got from a domain from 1 orange drop, 2 purple drops, and 3 blue drops was 12,600 artifact XP when adding all the artifact XP together. And of course, for the orange drops, of course, it's a little bit higher. Now, the other thing that's not factored into this is, of course, the artifacts that you're going to keep, that your copium artifacts that you're going to keep on the side, being like, you know what, actually, just real quick, you know what, that artifact, this one right here, yeah, that one could be good, maybe. Yeah, that was fine. You know, that one's pretty. I like that one. You know, the copium artifacts. There's a chance. You know, we're like, oh, you know what, that one's pretty good. I didn't factor that in. Okay, I did not factor in copium into this equation so that you guys can save those artifacts on the side. I definitely did not factor that in. If you want to factor in, all you have to do is subtract 3,600 or 800 right here. And that's lost artifact XP basically, but you know, those are artifacts you might use later, but who knows. Okay, now I digress on that total subject. Now 20 resin is equal then to 12,600 to 20,160 artifact XP based on this math. And now we're going to get into the Adeptal currency. Now, if you didn't know, if you go into your teapot and you talk to Tubby was like, what's up, fam? If you talk to them, you know that you can actually get to a high rank on your Adeptal energy. At the highest possible rank attainable right now, which is 20,000 Adeptal energy, you get 30 realm currency per hour. Now, at the maximum possible realm currency per hour, that comes out to 30 times 7 times 24, which I believe is 5,040. Let's go look. Because you get 5,040 realm currency per week, that's what you would get, and that's what you have available at maximum. So because you get so much, what I was trying to figure out, if that's what you could maximally get per week, what would be the most valuable for you to purchase with that realm currency? Okay, if you didn't know, there is a cap to what you can purchase in the shop. And the max that you can purchase in the shop is 1 transient resin per week, 20 hero wits, 40 mystic enhancement aura, as well as 20 sets of the Mora, which is 200,000 Mora. And you can also buy a maximum value of, which is the 5 sanctifying essences and 20 sanctifying unctions. For just ease of use, since this is equal to, 4 of these is equal to 1 of these, we're just gonna say this is 40 instead of 20, just to make this easier on the math so you guys can see it and it'll be easier to see. So the transient resin, you can only buy 1 of per week for 1,200. Because it's just what you can buy, and it's worth 60 resin. It'll cost you 1,200 realm currency. Easy done. Okay. For a Mora, you can buy. They cost 120 each for 10,000. There's 20 in stock, which means you can buy a maximum amount of 2,400, and that's worth about 66 resin value. However, since it costs twice as much, the overall value that you get out of it is 33.3 resin per Mora that you're buying out of the Realm Currency shop, which is about half as good as what you can originally buy. That's why you should always buy the transient resin first, and you should not buy all the other things afterward. Okay? So yes, the transient resin is worth. It is way more worth than everything else. Hero wits. Hero wits are going to cost 120 out of the shop. You can buy for one of them. It's going to be a maximum of 20, and they get a maximum resin value out of these for 2,400 realm currency at 64 of them. 64 resin of what it would get for 2,400 realm currency, which comes out to 32 resin in comparison to the transient resin. The Mystic Enhancement Ore, again, caps out at 33.3, but again, don't farm these. But what's really interesting is the Sanctifying Essences as well as the Sanctifying Unctions. Now, earlier we talked about exactly what the artifact range was for artifact XP that you could get per run when doing a run. And that comes out to be 12,600 artifact XP at the minimum value and 220,000 at the maximum value we can get per run in an artifact domain. At the minimum value for the best case scenario for comparing it to resin, it comes out to 90, which is 90 of these, which is, they're 90 realm currency costs for 2,500. You can buy a maximum of 40, which is 160 maximum resin value for 3,600 realm currency. We equated that to the transient resin. At best case scenario, it is worth 52 as far as 52 resin in comparison to everything else. So that means best case scenario, the artifacts XP is way better than buying the Mora, the Heroids, or the Mystic Enhancement Ore, best case scenario. At worst case scenario, which is going to be if you ended up getting 2 orange drops, 3 purple drops, and 4 blue drops in an artifact domain run, which is 20,000 artifact XP, that comes out to be 90 essences, not for a 90 currency cost, as well as 2,500 cost and the 40 that you get out of it. The maximum resin value that you would get out of this is 100 resin for 3,600 realm currency, which, if you're equating it to the transient resin, is a 32.5 resin per thing value, per realm currency value. Now, you can't divide it evenly. The best I could do is 1170 because 90 times 13 is 1170, and you can't get to the right values this way. It just, you can't divide it correctly. It's just nothing I can do about it. But it looks like the best thing that you can buy, of course, is going to be the transient resin and the new artifact XP essences. Now, I wanted to make sure that was the case, so what I also did was I found an excerpt from the Genshin wiki and found exactly what you would get every single day if you were farming artifact XP routes. If you don't know what those are, when you go out in the open world, you're able to find artifact XP in different areas. If you need routes for that, there's a lot of YouTube videos on this topic, and you can definitely find them. I may have one as well, I don't know. But essentially, you can farm about 29,000 artifact XP when you go around the entire open world on average every single day, which, if you equated the resin value, is somewhere between, I'd say, about 60 resin to about 30 resin, somewhere to 60, 30 resin, depending on the value that you would really get out of it. So the overall artifact XP value here is, if you're already doing this daily and you have tons of artifact XP just logged in your account and you really need Mora, just know that you are getting a little bit less bang for your buck if you're buying the artifact, the Mora instead of the artifact XP. And you might be better suited to grind some ley lines instead for Mora and go that direction versus and actually go out in the open world and farm the artifact XP, because that would be the most efficient route of things to do. Now, overall, what's really interesting, the most valuable thing that you can actually purchase out of the shop is going to be the Heroids. And the reason the Heroids are the most valuable thing you can actually purchase out of the shop is because Mora you can grind daily whenever you want to in the open world. You can grind essences as well as artifact XP by doing the artifact routes, and you can grind Mystic Enhancement Ore daily by grinding crystal chunks. However, if you are a grinder and you do those things every single day, the only thing you can't get is the hero wits. Unfortunately, though, they have the lowest possible value out of the shop. So if you did want to buy them, they are the best value for your account, but the lowest value as far as realm currency goes. So if you really want to lose out on that direction, but still get more account value, you could do that as well. My personal recommendation of what to do to maximize your resin efficiency, of course, is to buy the transient resin and then, of course, buy the essences afterward and go about your merry way. All right, guys. Well, that took a while to record and get all done. My name's Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like. It takes a while to get all this math together and do all these things for you guys. If you guys need the spreadsheet or whatnot, that's always in Discord. You can always find them pretty easy there. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.